My name is Sherlock Holmes. I've always been more of a thinker than a fighter.
The two aren't mutually exclusive. There's an art to fighting.
There's an art to war.
Really enjoying so far what we've watched from Young Sherlock. It's great. It's a great addition to such a beloved character.
I'm so glad. Thank you, Mark.
Hero, when we meet Young Sherlock, I mean, you described him in one of the early episodes as a work in progress. Tell us a little bit about this version of Sherlock Holmes that fans are going to get to meet in the new series.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely a work in progress. It's so fun telling any origin story, and I think we've really tried to make the most of those opportunities. Sherlock's such a kind of unique, unrelatable character because he's so exceptional. I think exploring the origin story of him is especially fun because we end up making him a bit more relatable. He's young, he's going through things that, you know, a lot of us can relate to having gone through in that kind of coming of age period when you're coming out your teenage years. And kind of seeing the traits of his that we go, okay, that's definitely Sherlock, the smart-ass comments to Mycroft and you know, all that good stuff. But then also seeing elements of his, we know he can defend himself, but in our story, he starts very incapable, you know, with his fists and stuff. So I think it's fun for audiences to see, oh, there's parts of Sherlock in there, but he's, as we say, he's a unfinished work in progress.
Larceny, thieving, those days are surely behind me. I'm in Oxford now.
You have to promise me something.
Anything, Mother.
Stay out of trouble.
Sherlock Holmes.
James Moriarty.
So you've worked with Guy Ritchie before. Guy Ritchie directs a few of these episodes. He's a producer as well. What did Guy, I mean, and then Guy has also done those early Sherlock Holmes movies with Robert Downey Jr. So, you know, what advice did he give you? What movies? I mean, I've interviewed Guy. He gave me a list of movies that I should watch just as a movie fan. And what did he tell you to watch? How did he tell you to play young Sherlock?
He didn't give me a list of homework, but I will. He's such a, you know, an auteur. I quite want that list. I think I should. I think you might have to send it my way. But it was all just fun. I was really lucky to have worked with Guy before on a film called The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare because I was a smaller role, so I was able to kind of just watch and learn and absorb a lot about how he worked. So starting Sherlock with that kind of history and understanding of how he worked was ideal. Yeah, I didn't get that list of films, but he's so overqualified to tell the story of Sherlock. I mean, he's a genius. He can think of, you know, words I've never heard before in my life on the spot to give Sherlock or Moriarty. And I feel like the pressure to write for one of the most intelligent characters that's ever been written is something a lot of people would really feel, and Guy doesn't, because as I say, he's so well equipped to just pull out words like erroneously and verisimilitudinous to try and make these characters sound as smart as they are, and not many people can do that. So we were very lucky to have him.
Guy's got such a unique style. Do you have a favorite Guy Ritchie? I mean, Guy Ritchie's been around for decades.
For me, I think it's a little bit, I think with Guy Ritchie movies, it's quite often which one you watch first. Because they're such a distinctive style, you can be biased because of that. But I watched Snatch first, and that's by far, anyway, one of my favorite films of all time. But I think of Guy Ritchie's catalogue, it's going to be Snatch for me, yeah.
You know what? That was also my first Guy Ritchie movie. Hero, you know, how did you want to put your own stamp on this character? Because, you know, we've seen so many different incarnations of Sherlock Holmes over the years on film.
I feel like the fact that he's young. Young Sherlock has been done before, but not many times. And the story that we've developed is purely from the mind of Matthew Parkhill. I think he's just taken Conan Doyle's works as a kind of rule book. If there's something that really can't happen in there, of course, we're not going to do it. But anything that's a grey area, Matthew wanted to kind of open up and explore. So I already felt like I was going to be kind of, you know, the script was going to be giving me an already slightly more original character than the polished detective Sherlock Holmes that we all know. And I guess on top of that, I wanted to make sure that because he's younger, we really kind of, his character has this kind of youthful positivity that Sherlock doesn't really have in Conan Doyle's works. I think he can be a bit emotionally cold and detached from the emotion. When he's solving crimes, he feels like he's not very empathetic towards the victims. He just wants to figure out what's, you know, how it's happened. So I think I wanted to make sure that the character had this kind of youthful positivity and excitement and And I think if we're lucky enough to continue telling this story and we get more seasons, fans might see that wear off as he experiences more of the hardships of life.
Yeah, Hero, that's actually a really good point. I really liked seeing that sort of youthfulness come through. You really made it shine through. So you've acted with your Uncle Rafe. Well, you appeared in the same Harry Potter movie with him. You didn't have any scenes. But in Young Sherlock, you get to work with your other uncle, Joe Fiennes. What was that like?
Yeah, good catch. Everyone understandably assumes I've worked with Rafe because we played the same character. But once you think about that more, it's even more obvious that we didn't because I played the younger him. But we still got to tick Rafe off the list. But I'm so happy to have worked with Joe. Ever since I started this kind of acting journey, I knew I wanted to work with my uncles or anyone I have in my family who are in the industry at some point, but I knew I wanted it to come about in a natural way. I feel very lucky to have had the opportunities I've had growing up and getting into the industry, but after I kind of got my foot in the door, I felt it was really important for me to feel like I've earned my own right to be here and kind of make some mistakes on my own or, just develop my acting skills a little bit before working with them. So I'm glad this has come at this point in my career, and especially for it to come back in a way where Joe plays Sherlock's father, Silas. So there's a nice bit of relativity and familiarity that might seep through onto screen there. But I mean, Joe is not just Uncle Joe, but he's this incredible actor. So I think when we were first doing scenes together, I was a little bit nervous because I'm like, I really want to impress him. I want to make him proud. I want him to think I'm good. But he's so supportive and kind that very quickly went away, and yeah, we had a blast.
Did you always know you wanted to be an actor?
Far from it. I wanted to be a footballer like every other kid in South London. And growing up, I did little bits of acting work, and it was a very slow realization that if I'm lucky enough to have these opportunities, I should give it a go, and now I'm in love with it. But yeah, definitely wasn't a wake up one day, I have to act. It was a very gradual realization. At first, the incentive was a day off school, and I'm very glad I took it.
Illuminate you. You've no idea what's at stake here. I feel as though I should thank you for saving me from a life of sheer boredom. You are most welcome.